What's up, guys? Welcome back to Pop Thoughts Review. It's been a year. We're pulling it out of the basement. We're dusting it off. You're going to see some of these on our video games that we're going to be playing for the rest of the year. So I'm excited. They're fun.
And what are we starting with, Brandon K?
Watch Dogs Legion. Now, Ubisoft come out and made a gigantic promise, as all video game companies do. You can recruit any of the thousands of NPCs in this game and make them part of your resistance. You will be able to use them, control them. They are your character.
And Brandon K, when they did that, you were not having it.
No, I wasn't having it. It's about they lie all the time. They overhype all the time, and they don't deliver. This is one of the few times, though. However, I'm glad to be wrong. They delivered. You can do just that. I thought there'd be a caveat. Oh, you can only do the ones that are walking around the streets. No, you can do the enemies. You can do anyone. Some take a little more than others, but you can recruit anyone. And they all have their own perks and quirks and things like that, anything from 0 to 4.
They're pretty quirky. Some of these characters, I mean, some of these attributes are really quirky. What's the quirkiest character that you found in the game?
I have a guy that farts way too much.
You recruited him.
Random. Absolutely, I recruited him. It's so funny. You'll be going by a building, and he'll just, and the guard's like, hey, what's that over there? He just give himself away because he can't hold his gas in. It's freaking awesome.
That's ridiculous.
I've seen guys with hiccups. I have a guy that will spontaneously die at any moment. He just hasn't yet. He's hanging in there, but he's going to spontaneously die. He's doomed.
I want him to like burst into flames or something.
He might. I'll let you know what happens when he goes. Hope he goes out in a blaze of glory. But all these characters do have things like that. But they also have useful things like guns, like lethal guns, because you only have non-lethal as that set. Vehicles, little gadgets like a watch that'll jam things. They have some of them are themed. You know, there's spies, who that's guy I use most of the time, to be honest with you. There's hitmen, arsonists, getaway drivers, and they're all kind of just themed the way you would think.
Which allows you to build a pretty robust team.
Yeah.
And pretty balanced with a lot of different skills and attributes, which is really cool.
Or a bunch of old ladies. Because that's the thing right now. Every time I saw somebody on the internet talking about Watch Dogs, oh, I got the Golden Girls. I'm like, why is everyone? It's funny, but
because you can.
And you can accessorize them. This game does a good job with accessorizing. I love to accessorize. I ain't gonna lie, and I can customize.
You are like the king of accessorizing.
I am, and this game does a good job of having many shops throughout all of London, all with their own theme and style of clothing, and I love it. That's my favorite thing to do in this game.
I was watching you play. It was like taking you to Rodeo Drive. You were in awe of all of the shops available.
That's why I don't stream the game, because it would just be me playing dress up with all my people. So that's fun. The map is pretty good. You've been to London for a long period of time.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I thought it was amazing. We drove to some of the hotel I stayed at, some of the landmarks. I mean, even down to the fountains and the statues and things on the river walk. I thought it was really well done. I couldn't believe the accuracy of the main parts of the city. I just thought it was really cool.
So good, Ubisoft. You did another good thing.
I also like driving around the map. I don't think it's anything too crazy. They made the controls pretty basic, so they're not really hard to, master.
I get in on the wrong side of the car every time, and I drive on the wrong side of the street every time. Stupid London. Hitting everyone. But, so they did some things good. When you start out this game, it feels good. You're just like, oh, this is going to be a really good game.
Yeah.
But then some of the cracks start to seep through. Okay?
This
game has a permadeath option, which I love in video games. It adds that tension when you customize your person, you start to get attached to them, and now you're in a mission, you're getting shot at. It adds tension because they're gone when they're gone.
Yes.
The problem with this game is it's incredibly way too easy.
It is. And there are certain things that just make it too easy. One being the spider bot.
Yep. That little bastard does 90% of the work for me in this whole game. I can go to a building, throw him in there, and send him through the building, cleaning up, doing everything that my character can do. And if one of the 10% chances I have to go in the building to go down an elevator or something, I just send my robot in there and kill everyone before, and I walk in like I own the place.
Yeah, and we just talked about how amazing it is to be able to build such a robust team with all these skills and attributes. And the strength of the spider bot completely negates all of that.
Yeah, and the cargo bot. This game is an open world game with lots of collectibles, tech points to upgrade your stuff, hack points to get more money, and they call it ETO, whatever. But these things that are on the roof used to be in old games. This is a puzzle. How do I get to the roof? I had jumped on this building, over to this dumpster, up this you had to figure out the path.
Mm-hmm.
I could just call in a cargo bot now, fly to the top of the roof, pick it up.
And an hour later, you have your.
It is slow.
Things take so long.
It is slow. And if you get up there and there's people there, I just throw my spider bot from the cargo bot down on the ground to do the work for me.
Yeah, the
game is way too easy.
Yeah, the difficulty level is really low on this.
There's a lot of cool gadgets, but the problem is they didn't balance out the difficulty. And that's a huge problem for me in this game.
Absolutely.
And repetitive. The missions are very repetitive. Like, it's the same thing every time. You go to a building, you go in there, you look through the cameras, and you set the traps, and you go and send your robot in to do whatever you got to do. And usually it's just pick something up or hack a computer or whatever.
Yeah, and my issue is whether you're hacking a camera or hacking a trap, it all feels the same.
Yeah,
there's not really any difference.
There's not a lot of different, like I've said, they're repetitive, but the main mission, that's all you're getting. There's not a lot of side missions in this game. There's a fight club, that's cool, but once you're done with that, I haven't found much of anything.
Yeah.
You get some side missions through the characters. So when you want a character, an NPC to join your team, you usually got to do a mission or something to get them on there.
Mm-hmm.
Those are almost the same thing too, though.
Yeah.
You know, there's activities in the world. The world feels empty. That's what I'm getting at. The world feels very empty with not a lot to do in it. There's some activities. You're going to play darts and stuff, but how often are you going to do that? You're going to do it once. It's going to wear thin. You're done. Right?
Yeah.
There's some parcel pickups where those are fun because they usually end up in car chases.
Mm-hmm.
But you only get like $90 for doing that. I can literally walk around town and just pick that up.
Just randomly.
Randomly and much more. Like, you usually pick up a couple hundred at a clip. So they're not even worth doing. This game did something good.
They did.
They had an open world, and they tried to add a new mechanic to it, and it was successful. But they put all that effort into that new mechanic and not enough into the world. It's very average. The graphics, very average. They're not bad. I'm not saying they're bad. They're average. There's no leaps and bounds of new, a standing Ghost of Tsushima, Red Dead Redemption 2 level of graphics here. The sound is good, but it's just average. It's what you expect from an open world game at this point. The controls, average. The fighting mechanic, very average.
Yeah.
I'm coming off Ghost, so I guess I try to give it a little leeway because Ghost, that's what it was tailored to. But it's two buttons, and like you can button smash everyone in this game.
Yeah.
So the fighting is very easy.
One thing we haven't talked about, and this is where the game kind of loses me, is we have all of these characters that you can recruit, which is great. But there's really not one single character that you can really connect with and build that relationship with and know a deep story behind. And even the story itself is very average and very general yeah. because there's no main character to kind of build around.
Yeah. On our audio podcast, I disagreed with you. I said, well, Deus Ex the character, and you get attached to a couple of your characters, and that's who you're going to be, so that's your main character. But you're right. There's no character development there because you can't write specifically for that character.
Right.
So nobody's developing. There's no character arcs. If you're looking for a deep story, average.
Yeah.
It's like everything else.
And I will say, I think they try to fill in with Bagley, who's kind of like the guy behind the chair. He's the voice that you're hearing, and he does add some comic relief and things, but it just doesn't take the place of a character that you can build, that rapport with.
Yeah, and that's the problem with this game. Just average.
Yeah.
So let's do our final reviews. I don't got anything else really to say about it. Let me say this. They flow the story, the cutscenes very well. I'll do say that.
They do.
They don't overload you with cutscenes, and when you get there, I tend not to skip them because they're not that long anyway, and it's usually something substantial in the story, so I stick around for the cutscenes. So that's something. It's a little plus for them.
Yeah.
Gotta give them some love somewhere.
It sounds like this is a bad game, but it's not. It's just like we keep repeating, just average. It's just an average game. So I'm going to go ahead and score it first. I love the map. I love that they really pulled through and gave you the ability to do the recruiting of any character in the game. I think that there's a lot of potential here for future games. If they can pull together the what they've done and the leaps forward they made with this, and now bring in the character development and the story, a deeper story, and maybe a little bit of deeper missions, I think that they could have a really good game. For me right now, this is just above average. I'm going to give it a 6.
I'm just gonna, I'll echo all that. My warden, my wife here, just said everything pretty much the way it needs to be said. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 7 though, because I'm giving it an extra. It is a slightly above average game because it is. They do what they do is kind of good. You know, it's not a below average game, or even we say average a lot, but it is slightly above average with the characters and stuff. I'm giving it an extra point for taking a big risk and trying to do something different in an open world game, and it paying off.
Yeah.
Most of the fun I have is recruiting people and dressing them up. And they do that really well. So I'm getting hours of fun out of that. But the problem is, after about 12 to 15 hours, the repetitive missions, the difficulty of this game, it really holds it back. So I'm going to give it a 7. It's in good territory. It's not in the 8, 9, 10 great territory, though. Next iteration, though, Ubisoft, you have the formula. You keep this mechanic of recruiting anyone, and you open up your missions. You give us more to do. Make them deeper, more character-driven. I still don't think you need a main character. I don't know main character works in this. I can get over that if you give me some fun in the world. All right? So what do we got? 6.5 average score for Watch Dogs Legions, and that's it for our Pop Thoughts review. Hey, guys, we have an audio podcast. If you haven't yet, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you listen, cPOPuniverse. The letter C, cPOPuniverse. Go ahead over there, like, subscribe, download. We have 100 episodes. We just put our 100th episode up.
Yep.
And we have a Mandalorian giveaway. Want to know more about it? Go check it out. We'll see you guys on the next Pop Thoughts review.
Join the universe.